Liberals breathe a sigh of relief. The U.S. has returned to its role as world leader in virtue signaling. The Biden Virtual World Climate Summit wrapped up today. But before we dive into the policy, we want to point out something kind of funny that we saw. Here's a snapshot of the virtual summit with dozens of heads of state from all around the world. Everyone on their laptop like a bunch of teens in a bachelor chat room. This picture was taken when Vladimir Putin was speaking, obviously. What do you notice over there to the right? President Biden, the only person with a mask on. Here's a closer look. The president was vaccinated months ago, but evidently Fauci recommends you still mask up for those Zoom calls even after you're vaccinated. We can't be sure that COVID doesn't spread through the internet, I suppose. I guess there's somewhat of a chance. He's also the only world leader without a flag in his background, a flag for his country. The new fashionable left, I suppose, hating America, so chic these days. And today, Biden promised tons of jobs created and paid for with your money in his new green economy.
It's about the opportunity that addressing climate change provides. It's an opportunity to create millions of good-paying jobs around the world in innovative sectors.
Opportunity to weaken the private sector and make the government a whole lot bigger. That is how Democrats, quote, create jobs. They steal your money and give it to somebody else to do a job they just invented. Biden says he's not going to leave people behind as he tries to essentially destroy the fossil fuel industry.
We must ensure that workers who have thrived in yesterday's and today's industries have as bright a tomorrow in the new industries.
Another politician lie. Biden, of course, is a pro at that. He's been there long enough. Within his first few weeks in office, the White House canceled the Keystone Pipeline, which has resulted in thousands of jobs lost. The impact still being felt across the country. Listen to what a gym owner in Phillips, South Dakota said just a few weeks ago after she had just invested her own money into expanding her gym called Ignite with the hopes of getting more business from pipeline workers.
The executive order started coming in, and when he signed the bill to pull the permit, it was a tough moment here at Ignite.
Can only imagine. But don't worry, green jobs are coming, in like 2 or 5 years maybe, but they're coming. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken earlier this week admitted that people are going to be out of work because of this climate plan.
We will be mindful that for all the opportunities offered by the unavoidable shift to clean energy, not every American worker will win out in the near term. Some livelihoods and communities that relied on old industries will be hit hard. We won't leave those Americans behind.
And all of this so India and China can continue to destroy the planet by their standards anyway, by the way. But for climate czar John Kerry, the little people don't really matter.
We always replace it with a different kind of or some new opportunity. And I don't think it's going to mean that much dislocation, frankly.
Yeah, I mean, you could see he doesn't care. What does he care? He's flying private. He's living off the wife's ketchup money. John Kerry's so important, far too important to care about burning private jet fuel, by the way. Oh, that's way beneath him. Of course, the Biden team doesn't care about jobs lost, obviously. This is about pandering to the left wing. The hilarious part is watching it fail so miserably these last couple of days. Biden's plan is to cut U.S. emissions of greenhouse gases in half by 2030. That's 9 years. It's actually insane. It's very aggressive. It would cost trillions of dollars. It would destroy his approval with moderates. And yet, hilariously, it's not nearly enough to appease the radical environmentalists. We showed you this yesterday. Climate activists dissatisfied with the plan. It's not far enough. They hate it so much they dumped cow manure in front of the White House. You gotta love it. AOC saying nothing short of her new version of the Green New Deal is acceptable. Yes, AOC's policies or bust.
The question is, do we intend on sending a message to the Biden administration that we need to go bigger and bolder? And the answer is absolutely yes.
She's an expert, as we all know. We must listen to AOC. Yes, let's get rid of the energy industry as we know it. Let's get rid of all the gas-driven cars, by the way. You know what? It'll be like just like last April in this country. Nobody doing anything. No economy, nobody working, nobody commuting anywhere. We're all just sitting in the box. A liberal utopia. And here is Swedish teenager Greta Thunberg calling for the end of the fossil fuel industry.
If we are to live up to our promises and commitments in the Paris Agreement, we have to end fossil fuel subsidies, stop new exploration and extraction, completely divest from fossil fuels, and keep the carbon in the ground.
Between her and AOC, I think we got a winning deal here. The sad thing is what this is all doing to our kids, like Greta Thunberg, who are so impressionable at that young age. They have adults filling their heads with climate psychosis to the point where they're about to have a mental breakdown. Even young adults are having anxiety over this. Watch this.
Georgia, you discussed climate anxiety in the podcast, and we heard Juliana mention her feeling her chest tighten when she talks about this. What do you mean exactly, climate anxiety?
I am one of many, many, many young people who all experience climate anxiety, which is the feeling of uncertainty over a livable future.
From his private jet, burning 500 gallons of jet fuel every hour, John Kerry said this.
But even if we get to net zero, we still have to get carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere. So this is a bigger challenge than a lot of people have sort of really grabbed onto yet.
But I'm going to keep flying around in my wife's private jet because I'm John Kerry and I'm so important. What is he, Heinz? Heinz ketchup? The wife's got the Heinz money. He married into the money. He ain't important. So now net zero emissions are not enough, not to spoil the ending, but it'll never be enough. Not until you're eating broccoli for dinner 7 nights a week in a home with no heat or air conditioning. Maybe then they'll stop whining about this, but I doubt it. Democrats say it's about science. It's not. The climate crisis is about control. They want to control your transportation. They want to control your food. They want to control how much energy you use. And they want a massive government, most importantly. And you better let them have it. And you better hurry because the king, John Kerry, from the private jet, says we only have 10 years left.
These next 10 years are the critical years. The scientists have told us unequivocally that we have about 10 years now to make the critical decisions and implement them that will avoid the worst consequences of the climate crisis.
He flies in a jet that burns 500 gallons of jet fuel an hour. Need we say anything more? We could just end the show right there. Slam dunk. For Democrats, climate change gives them control of every issue. You're going to love this next soundbite. Listen to the amazing stretch here by Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Climate crisis is a crisis born of injustice, and it is a crisis born of the pursuit of profit at any and all human and ecological cost. That's right. Which means that we must recognize in legislation that the trampling of indigenous rights is a cause of climate change. The trampling of racial justice is a cause of climate change.
Talking about how bad greed is. This is the congresswoman that wants to pay congressional members more. She got in and immediately wanted to raise her own salary, now lives in a fancy luxury building in Washington, D.C., but she hates money. Okay.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.